Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Sunday the 26th of August 2018 and we're very briefly covering the response by China against American tariffs and asking the question, could the China Trade Spat adversely affect gold and silver prices? But first, some background. President Trump has, as the basis of his economic policy, promised the American people that he will address the balance of payment deficit, or as is often described as the trade deficit. In 2017, the total US trade deficit was $566 billion. It imported $2.895 trillion worth of goods and services while exporting $2.329 trillion. The deficit is higher than in 2013 when it was $478 billion. One reason is because the dollar strengthened 28% between 2014 and 2016. A strong dollar makes imports cheaper and exports more expensive. But the deficit is less than the record $762 billion seen in 2006. The decrease since then means US exports grew faster than imports. That's good for US businesses and job growth. President Trump wants to reduce these deficits partially with protectionist measures. In March 2018, he announced he would impose a 25% tariff on steel imports and a 10% tariff on aluminum. On July the 6th, Trump's tariffs went into effect. China, the European Union, Mexico, and Canada have announced retaliatory tariffs. Now, we shall focus on China specifically here because we believe it is the most notable in terms of global effect. Last Thursday, the US imposed a second wave of tariffs on Chinese goods worth $16 billion, and China responded immediately in kind. The result is that both sides are now imposing 25% tariffs on a total of $50 billion worth of each other's goods. In other words, a total of $100 billion. The US has since threatened a third round of tariffs on an additional $200 billion of Chinese goods, which could happen as early as September. President Trump also stated that if necessary, he would place tariffs on $500 billion worth of Chinese goods. Our view, put simply, is that President Trump believes that as China exports more to the US than the US exports to China, then China will be more adversely affected by such measures. In an interview with Reuters, Mr. Liu Kun, the Chinese finance minister, said, quote, "China will keep hitting back at Washington as the US piles on more trade tariffs. China doesn't wish to engage in a trade war, but we will resolutely respond to the unreasonable measures taken by the United States. If the United States persists with these measures, we will correspondingly take action to protect our interests." Unquote. He also added that he was concerned about the potential job losses and lost livelihoods brought about by the trade spat. To counter the impact on the economy, Beijing plans to increase spending to support workers and help the unemployed back into work. It also expects local governments to spend more than 1 trillion yuan or 114 billion pounds on infrastructure programs by the end of the current quarter. As far as the short-term impact on the US is concerned, economists generally agree that the tariffs will raise the cost of imported steel, increase the price of US automobiles, and create domestic layoffs. The tariffs have depressed the stock market since they were announced, though they have begun to rebound again. But analysts worry that President Trump has started a trade war that will hurt international trade. To us, this is finely balanced. Should these tariffs continue, and China's economy is adversely affected, then we can very well expect to see the value of the yuan weaken further, especially against the dollar, meaning even higher tariffs will have to be levied to counteract this. Alternatively, perhaps the pain inflicted so far may bring China to the negotiating table, though 2 days' talks just completed have so far come to nothing. This is a complex economic trade area with many factors affecting the outcome, which we shall discuss more within our inner sanctum when it is launched. However, one consequence of a poorer China, whether through trade or currency devaluation, will undoubtedly be a decline in its purchase of commodities, including gold and silver, which will have a dampening effect on their price. But we are not at this stage as yet. So what are your thoughts on this policy of tariffs? Do you think it helps the US and world economy, or damages them? And what effect, if any, do you think they will have on gold and silver prices? We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it on Twitter. Please ensure that you have subscribed to our channel and press the bell sign so that you are notified of any future videos. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe as a free member for regular email updates and offers. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice, and merely represent the personal views of its owners.